let's go ahead and move on to the next and final match of this best of 5. So Jarvis is going to come in with goblins. Let's see what Bonde brings to the table. What do you think it is, Phil?
Not bad.
All right. Well, fascinating. Mono red Chandra Stompy.
All right. So I'll kind of go over this. I've played a lot of this deck in the past few months. So essentially, you are a turn 1.5 lock deck, where on either turn 1 or 2, you're looking to deploy one of the following 3 cards: Chalice of the Void, Magus of the Moon, or Blood Moon. And using these cards, and also Trinisphere as well, you're looking to press an early advantage to give you enough time to play a few other lock pieces to sort of solidify your state in the game. Unfortunately, in this matchup, Magus of the Moon and Blood Moon are not doing a particularly large amount of work. So a lot of the power of Red Prison is actually just negated by Jarvis's deck choice.
Yikes. But that being said, though, it feels like, Bonde still has a number of good cards in his deck that he can, leverage to win games, like Fiery Confluence, and Snaring Bridge 2 is also pretty good.
It'd be a shame if there were some goblin in the main deck that could go and destroy bridges. All of them.
So I'll ask you here again, like I've asked you for the last 4 matches. Who do you think is going to take Game 5 in this, what has been so far an amazing series?
I would be very surprised if Jarvis did not run train.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see if you can get the 5 for 5, and let's dive into Game 1 of this final match.
Okay. So on Michael's side, we have turn 1 Goblin Master into Goblin Rabble Master into turn 2 Goblin Rabble Master.
Okay.
That's a fine keep. It is super aggressive. It will kill in 3 turns.
That's where you want to be. Turn 1 Goblin Lackey for Jarvis is the play, and actually this hand is really just not well equipped for Goblin Rabble Master. I'll say. Oh, wait a minute. Oops, just dinged up my mic. This is a Gem Bomb Incinerator. If it could deal damage to players, that would be so insane in this match. But that being said, this is gonna be an upset, I guess.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So he's not going for the double Rabble Master play, which kills a turn quicker unmolested. He's respecting the power of Fiery Confluence as a board wipe here. Thinking that now that he has drawn another land for this Ensnaring Bridge, that he can kind of hide behind the Ensnaring Bridge. So he can play sort of a sword and shield matchup, where on his turn, he'll have 1 card in hand, so his goblin tokens can all attack, but then he'll play whatever card he draws for the turn.
Afterwards. Okay. That's a coherent story. Yep. So here we see 2 small boys swinging in. I can't imagine.
There's no block here. Note that he's choosing not to attack with the Goblin Rabble Master, because doing so would open up a Goblin Lackey hit, just in case anyone was wondering there.
Do you know what card is good against a bunch of 1/1s from the Goblin side?
No, I haven't played Standard at all, so I have no idea what card you're referring to.
Spoiler alert, it may or may not be a certain sharpshooter in Jarvis's hand.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Goblin Chain Whirler. Oh, jeez. There's so many cards that are good at killing other Goblin friends.
So what I thought was just going to be a complete blowout for, Michael is actually just completely contained now by this 1 card.
Yeah, this is going to be a real game.
And by real game, we mean there will be a lot of top decks that we're going to have to see if they can swing the game in either player's favor.
I like this. So Sting Scourger bounces the Rabble Master, making the Ensnaring Bridge worse and buying some time. This allows the Goblin Lackey to get in for a hit.
Yep, which will put the Sharpshooter into play, or even like a Chieftain if you want to leverage haste off the Sharpshooter. And then Wasteland on the Ancient Tomb is going to slow down the mono red deck even more. So we have, this game is actually really close. I mean, the Fiery Confluence is a blowout play that Bonde is looking to play towards at this point. But not drawing lands is kind of a death sentence here. Yeah, because we're not able to empty our hand. Yep.
Well, we'll see a Chalice on 1 purely to get it out of the hand this turn. Yeah. And Michael's going to hope to draw a land so he can land Imprint Rabblemaster on Chrome Mox and then Fiery Confluence the board.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird too because, I mean, goblins don't really get that big, without snowballing a lot. But we do need to be aware that there is a window for which Fiery Confluence is good for, and then after that, it just might not do enough damage to kill all the lords and whatnot.
So now we're probably going to see the Matron put into play. Potentially just ahead of time getting like the Goblin Trash Master.
Yep, and there it is. That card seems like it will just completely take over this match. But
so we see the Fiery Confluence. It's going to get to wipe the board here. But the Goblin Trash Master, especially if paired with something like a Mog War Marshal, can just take out every non-land permanent on the other side of the board currently. That
is just filthy. Oh, man. I'm not going to lie. I do want to see that happen. Jarvis is going to go ahead and spend the 4 mana to play the 3/3 that cannot attack currently, but he's setting up for the next turn where he could even sack the Chieftain if he needs to. God, this Trash Master is so good.
I've been on the wrong side of that card a handful of times as a D&T player, where similarly I just have so many artifacts, and it's just a nightmare. Like, what do they care about? What are they going to get rid of? Everything I love is going to die.
Yeah.
Note the uncounterable Skirk Prospector, ignoring the power of Cavern of Souls here.
Suck it, Chalice of the Void.
All right, Ensnaring Bridge is now gone. Some red boys getting into the red zone.
This is an interesting attack.
Maybe just one red boy.
And that's a snap block right there. I think we take that.
I understand wanting to make that attack because it incentivizes Michael to get rid of his P and K, which is a very dangerous card.
Oh, but Big Daddy Karn coming into play. It looks like we're ticking up this 1 turn. But right now, if we tick down, we make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5s. 5 5s that, can get blown up by Goblin Trash Master, but also 5 5s that can connect if Jarvis doesn't find a creature to put into play.
Yeah. Karn can get very out of control in both directions, right? Either just like ticking up or ticking down. Both are pretty respectable right now. So Jarvis can't miss for very many turns. And it looks like we get an arrow friend or 2 hanging out. Oh, no, it's gone now. Never mind.
Okay. Magus of the Moon providing some nice, sweet chump blocks. Okay.
Now, if there wasn't the Chalice there, Aether Vial would actually be not the worst draw because the Goblin Trash Master... Oh, no, that doesn't hurl the artifact. Never mind. Ignore me.
So, yeah, I mean, spin it how you want, but Aether Vial's probably exactly the worst draw that he could have had there. At least, like, lands will tap for mana at some point. But it doesn't seem like Bonde is really pulling ahead either. Like, I don't know. This is a risky attack. If Jarvis draws a Goblin, then Karn might die, but it looks like we found a Snaring Bridge, which is decent, I guess. God, I just want Jarvis to draw a ring.
Jeez.
Yeah, like if Jarvis finds a ringleader at any point, it feels like the game just gets blown wide open.
Yep.
But this is what happens when you don't play with Brainstorm. Sometimes you get into these spells where you just don't draw what you need, when you need it.
Yeah, against a huge portion of the format, this red prison deck just has overwhelming power on turns 1 and 2, and that makes up for the fact that you have a little bit less consistency.
Right. Yeah, and I think, that's just, in my opinion, I really think that's beautiful design, just like you give and you take, right? Like you get some superpowers, but then you have, your fundamental flaw or weakness, and it's quite apparent in this match, just...
Darn you, basic lands! A chalice on 2 now.
Okay, it's not too bad.
Let's further eliminate some of the outs.
Let's see, it turns off War Marshal because the caverns don't tap for uncounterable mana. Turns off Pile Driver. Also just, works well with Ensnaring Bridge, 1 less card in your hand.
Oh, God.
Okay, well...
Jarvis, why?
At some point, Jarvis will draw a Goblin, and things will happen. But until that point, Big Daddy Karn is going to take over the game. And I like... Okay, so we're just committing to this whole Blood Moon plan with not 1, but 2 Blood Moon effects, with the potential for a 3rd one.
Okay.
Look at that 200 IQ Chalice on 2. Man. This is such a back and forth game. But that being said, Jarvis just needs to draw one goblin that he can cast. Then he can kill the Chalice.
Kill the Chalice on 2, play the Mog War Marshal, and then get rid of 3 artifacts on the other side of the table. Now everything's expensive to...
Ooh, and there it is.
All right.
It's about time, right? We expected that to happen.
Game on.
So let's see if he immediately sacrifices this Goblin or not. There's an argument to not sacrificing the Goblin, in that, whatever, you don't really... You can wait another turn if you really want the 3/3 first striker. But Jarvis says, nope, get rid of that Chalice. Here's my War Marshal. Get rid of the rest of your board. I hope you enjoyed this game.
I don't know that he needs to kill anything else here, right? Because he's not making any attacks this turn. So you can either just wait until Michael's end step or his upkeep to go and sacrifice that without any value lost.
Okay.
God, I really see another Chalice on 2.
Yeah, why not, right? That's another thing that basically at this point, I think Bonde's plan is, I'm just going to put so many artifacts into play that your Trash Master can't handle them all. And, that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? 7? I don't know. If the game goes on towards infinity, though, 7 is nothing. But
Jarvis continuing the sick rip train.
Yeah, with the draws that Jarvis is having, I'm actually almost kind of feeling that Bonde might somehow steal this win. I don't know what Bonde's win condition is. It could be a Chandra off the top to deal 4 damage to a Goblin Trash Master. I guess that's probably what he was digging for this whole time. Just
the permanents have now realigned. He has too many. Old configuration was not good.
Jeez.
Rip Trash Master. And now we're going to see probably close to his entire board going. I don't know. He kind of has to leave some bodies so he doesn't just get picked to death by all the little idiots that are on the board. And there is something to be said for leaving a couple of jump blockers, because if he gets rid of everything, then Karn minus becomes terrifying. Right.
And in this situation, it's some bad breaks. That's how I chalk it up. There's a lot of lands in play for Jarvis. It's not like any of those lands would have necessarily been the kind of card that would have gotten him back into the game, right? Because he's still playing 4 Goblin Matrons and he's still playing 4 Goblin Ringleaders. So I don't necessarily think it's the fault of the lands or anything like that. He just flooded out. so be it. Now, the 6/6 construct in play, though, seems pretty terrifying. And Jarvis is going to concede.
That's where we pack it up.
The 9th land, only in like 10 draws. That's what it does, which is kind of scary. It's surprising, actually. But let's take a look at the sideboards. And I have literal 0 experience in how to board in the mono red mirror. Phil, blindly guide me to a win.
Okay, so let's start with the red prison side. Essentially, you really want to trim on the number of Magus of the Moon and Blood Moons that you're playing, but the limiting factor is actually how many cards that you can bring in that actually matter.
Makes sense.
And it's not as many as you might like. So like Volcanic Fallout's obviously very good. Sorcerous Spyglass shuts off Aether Vial, or like Goblin Trashmaster, that's fine as well. Torpor Orb, are those enter the battlefield triggers on Ringleader? Okay, so that will shut that off.
Yeah, and Matron.
Oh, geez, that's actually very good here then. That's probably about all you want to board. So,
okay,
what is that? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 of the 6 Blood Moon effects probably come out, or somewhere thereabouts.
Yeah, I mean, keeping summon is not the end of the world. Turning off Rashidon Port is like, it's useful to a degree. But obviously the Blood Moon effects are not that good. I mean, 2/2s block, that's kind of helpful. But
So here we see a powerful opening sequence, like Vial, go. Best start. Sorcerous Spyglass, shut off Vial. Crap.
So the best play met with the counter for the best play. That's pretty exciting. Also, I just want to visit real quick. I do think I saw Jarvis board in some number of pyrokinesis. He probably also brought in the 2nd Trashmaster. I'm not really sure what else he did bring in.
I don't know if he brought them in, but Thorn is not unreasonable against a deck like this. They are sort of trying to be very not mana efficient, but they're trying to use all of their mana every turn. And if you make them kind of waste mana or slow them down, it can be very powerful. I like a card like Thalia much better than a card like Thorn, since it is also trying to win the game.
So there's an interesting question here, and that is, what do you name with Sorcerous Spyglass? My initial reaction is you just name Aether Vial because that card is just so busted, bonkers, broken with this Goblins deck. But there is a slim chance you could also consider something like Trashmaster. I'd probably say Aether Vial like 99% of the time. Given my hand, what do we have? We have 2 Volcanic Fallouts.
I actually don't think that Trashmaster is a great name. I think in this spot, I would be much more inclined to name either Vial or Rashadon Port, especially since the 2 of those cards together are extremely powerful. What Michael is doing here is, on the strength of his Ensnaring Bridge in hand, that is what he thinks his path to victory is.
Okay.
Because unless Jarvis is playing like a split of something like Tuk Tuk Scrapper and Trashmaster, then he can't actually get that bridge out of play once it's in play.
Okay.
So Michael is probably hedging in that direction.
All right. And so in response to an upkeep Rashidon Port on the Ancient Tomb, we're going to see Bonde flash into Sulfur Elemental, get a little bit of a clock going if he can.
Note here that like so many cards are bad in this matchup that something like Sulfur Elemental might be more powerful than something like Trinisphere or Chalice of the Void. So you do some pretty anemic things in sideboarding with this deck sometimes.
Right. And so Jarvis here is going to channel his inner Rashidon Port fetish, turn off all of Bonde's lands, and vial in a Goblin Matron on the end step. Bonde not really drawing into anything much either. He's got 3 Simian Spirit Guides in his hand, so if he really wanted to cast an Ensnaring Bridge, he could, but it's kind of tricky. I mean, I also don't know. Now that the Spyglass is on Trashmaster, does Jarvis have a way to get rid of artifacts?
I don't think so. Like, assuming he can actually empty his hand through those Rishadan ports consistently, which is an issue, it would be a hard lock because he is playing one Trashmaster main, one Trashmaster in the sideboard.
Okay, so it's not... I mean, actually, now that I think about it, the Simian Spirit Guides are not that bad, mostly because they synergize with the Ensnaring Bridge. Like, they just reduce the number of cards in your hand. But my boy Bonde does have to draw lands at some point, otherwise he's just going to get snowballed over by all of this mana denial.
I looked away. Did we draw 3 or 4 cards with that Ringleader? Was that the 4 cards to the right here?
The correct answer is too many cards. A disgusting, filthy goblin red. Creatures, no, bad. But, okay, so it looks like, he's doing this on his upkeep. Now, I don't know the reason for that. I'm assuming there is some, because he wants to tick up with Vile, maybe, if he finds Siege Gang Commander.
Well, Siege Gang Commander is a 5, so he could tick up next turn anyway.
Okay. But looks like this Ringleader did not find as many gremlins, but I still think we get to attack here. So now I think Jarvis is trying to balance like how much he wants to commit to the table this turn versus how much he...
I'm all about double porting.
Right, wants to deny the mana. So, and I think I'm with you on this. Let's see where Jarvis ends up. Yeah, these Rishadan ports, this is like filthy. The Rishadan port Aether Vial combination has just been, I mean, it's like disgusting to see.
Maybe you should play a deck built around those 2 cards.
Boo! All right, well, some damage is going to get in. 3 points, dropping him down to 13. That means a couple more attack steps and Jarvis will have a W for this match. But let's see, I mean...
We might be getting to the time where we see, like, upkeep Volcanic Fallout pitching one of the Spirit Guides.
Oh, yeah, that might do a thing, too. That would buy a lot of time for Bonde. But really, seriously, though, where are Bonde's land drops? The Chandra off the top, so still not finding that land, still suffering the fate of, that most non-blue decks do in consistency issues. But, I mean, last game it was on the other side of the table where Jarvis was the one who was a victim of the flooding, and now it's Bonde. So, and he's already discarded 1 Ensnaring Bridge. So that means that Bonde is kind of assuming that Jarvis doesn't have another out to bridge aside from Trashmaster, which he has, cleanly.
So I haven't done the math here yet, but we might be done this turn, right? Play War Chief into Chieftain, turn all the guys sideways. We can probably do 13.
I trust you, Phil.
You just haven't counted with creatures before that aren't 4/4s or 2/1s.
Look, addition is hard, okay? That being said, I don't necessarily...
Just wait, though. Just wait. I'm going to enjoy this.
There's a blowout waiting in the woods. Oh, man, this is where I really wish... Does Volcanic Fallout have split second? No, right?
No, Volcanic Fallout can be responded to.
So
if in the hypothetical world he had Goblin Trashmaster.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But, I mean, I think Jarvis still has time to rebuild the board, deal some damage, maybe still win there. We can find a Ringleader off of this.
He just gets another Ringleader, he vials that in, he has all the options in the world.
Exactly. And we still have Port to turn off, Ancient Tomb and Mountain, which means that we can't even really cast this Ensnaring Bridge. And wow, some bad luck means that Michael Bonde is not going to be able to commit some of the most powerful cards in his hand to the board. Rishadan Port and this flurry of goblins just taking over. And this is pretty exciting. I mean, chat, you guys are getting some max viewership here of some great legacy content. We're going into match 5, game 3 in this best of 5. I'm just who do you think is gonna? I don't even know what to say. I'm just like at a loss for words.
Chat, pick your winner in the chat now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to see. Who do
you've seen some games. You've seen what both sides can do. You've seen both players draw poorly. Who's your winner?
All right, we got some fans for Jarvis. Personally, I'm on Team Aethervile, which is, it sounds so weird for me to say.
But yes, one of us.
But I don't know. It looks like Bonde's 7-card hand is not that bad. You know, turn 2, 3 drop, an Ensnaring Bridge or Trinisphere.
3-ball is hot.
Yeah.
Like 3-ball on turn 1 or turn 2 is pretty crippling. A little surprised not to just see like the snap off Wasteland, see if you can just kind of get a freebie here while you can still use the Wasteland. But like since he doesn't have the 3rd land, it is a little risky.
Right, and I think I do like this. Magus of the Moon keeping the City of Traders alive, making them a little bit better than just Lotus Petals. Goblin Matron, though. Oh, no, not Goblin Matron. It was War Chief, right?
Yes, War Chief.
War Chief. So that means that we're looking to reduce the mana cost on some of our goblins here.
So Goblin War Chief is a card that maybe doesn't look super powerful initially, but when you get to go like cheaper matrons, cheaper ringleaders, and string together multiple cards over the course of many turns, it's the cumulative mana that you get and the tempo that you get by playing that card is actually very large.
Right. And so here we see like the bottleneck in Jarvis's hand is actually just mana production, and so this War Chief is just hauling overtime. Like he's just like doing so much work right now. I mean, I would even almost want like another War Chief in play, like off one of these Goblin Matrons. Oh, we just have the other War Chief in our hand already. So then we can play 1 mana, 1/1 tutor for anything in our deck, basically. And just...
Hey, do you think Matron for Goblin Trashmaster is going to be good?
I hear that is some powerful legacy technology against the mono artifact deck. It's a good thing.
Geez. Oh, we get to do the cycling, and there's 3 cards in hand, and now we bash up on these boys over here.
Oh, man. All right, yeah, this is not looking too good for the big red stompy fans. But Fiery Confluence?
Note that the Chrome Box here does cost 3 mana due to the Trinisphere. There are some Nombos in the Red Prison deck.
Puke.
Yeah.
Can we even... Okay, so we're just basically emptying our hand here so that we take no damage, or take less damage, I guess.
Yeah. So now we get to Matron for Trashmaster. Play you just overpaid there, right? Those 3. Trinisphere. Sorry.
Yep, Trinisphere. Yeah, Trinisphere is still doing...
Doesn't matter, still Trashmaster.
And now we're just beating face. Okay. And it's also kind of disgusting. Like, this Fiery Confluence is good, but it's not even, like, that good because Jarvis is
still... There's still just infinite cards in Jarvis's hands.
They just don't stop coming. This is the Goblin Menace. This is... I mean, can you imagine if people just play this deck more? I know, like, Bob mentioned that there was, like, a Goblins deck that was actually in contention for top 8 of Richmond going into, like, round 14 or 15. May have lost a win in it or something like that. That is so insane. And I can understand why. This deck is so powerful. It's just doing so much stuff. Like, yeah, go for it.
Like, Jarvis can win this game any way he wants. Like, he could potentially just, like, present lethal this turn with haste damage. He could just, like, waste you, port you if he doesn't have enough to present lethal this turn. He can cast all of his spells in a random order and probably be fine. Like,
just close my eyes and come at me. Just, like, throw my cards on the table. You get a goblin. You get a goblin. But yeah, wait. We're toying with our food. Could we have played the lackey? And
you could have just like played lackey or another war marshal. And
the BM is #real. Never mind.
Okay.
The caverns were colorless. So there is no BM. The Goblins deck is just really bad. No, I'm just kidding. Well, okay. So somehow Bonde is still alive at one life. Actually, I was going to ask about that. So that's an interesting interaction when you have Blood Moon in play. I guess it was the rulings from Ixalan where Cavern no longer names anything.
Yeah.
Right?
So anything that has an as effect is not going to happen under a Blood Moon. This is most notable with like Cavern of Souls and Dark Depths.
Well, the second Trash Master is going to seal the deal to kill the Ensnaring Bridge, and there you have it. After our first best of 5, we have Jarvis, the robot himself, winning in 5. That is actually insane. I had so much fun watching this. A lot of unexpected decks. So just as a recap, Bonde brought Black-Red Reanimator, Blue-Black Shadow, and then this mono-red Stompy deck. Jarvis, on the other hand, had Grixis Delver, Miracles, and then Goblins. And so those were some pretty epic battles. How do you feel, Phil?
I think Legacy is in such an amazing spot right now. Like, just to kind of take those matches as a showcase, those were some incredibly interactive and interesting matches that all sort of had a very different dynamic to them. And I'm so happy with the Legacy world that we have right now because we get to watch amazing matches like this. And this is some high level play. Yeah.
Wait, so I just want to clarify. I don't know. As dumb jokes. Shut up, Ed. There we go. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm also pretty sure we have a raffle or something like that. I'm gonna probably transition to that now. I think after this we have Jody Keith playing against Brian Brundoon himself. Am I still alive?
Yep.
Oh, okay, I'm still alive. Yeah. So yeah. So whatever, it's fine. Yeah. So stay tuned for that, guys. Don't go anywhere. We got some more great content, and we're going to follow up with Rudy Brixa and the Brian Cook providing commentary for that. So we'll see you guys in a bit. Stay tuned.